Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you today in part by our friends at The Wellness Company and Liquid IV. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. Not just giving you our opinions, but hopefully giving you some information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or completely different than ours. Joining me in studio today, we got Ray Ora.
Hey.
And we got Jonathan Voico, who you're not going to be able to see today due to technical reasons, but he's here.
You
Voice
can't
of Oz.
see me, but you can hear me.
And also joining us today, the In Snyder.
Having me, boys.
Jeff Snyder is here today. Jeff, how you doing today, sir?
I am great. Excited to be here, John. Thanks.
It's good to have you here. Thanks for coming on out. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making this show a little part of your day. And here's how the show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics. Then the second part of the show, we're going to take five live questions that you guys sent in, and only five. Listen,
The
guys,
best five.
time to break out the tiny violin. It's time for me to tell you guys a story of sadness and woe. So this morning, as we're getting ready to do the show, Jonathan, who you can't see right now,
But I am here.
whose computer runs everything, died this morning. And we desperately tried every form of computer CPR that we
I
could.
said, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark.
I don't want to go. Like molasses in your mouth. We tried so hard, and we could not get it running. And so we are going to be limited a little bit today. We're going to be limited in some of the things we can normally do for our show, but we've got a new computer coming, and hopefully we'll be up and running here really quick. But with that all out of the way, you don't care about our peddly problems. You want to hear what's going on in the world of movie and TV news. So that's what we're going to do. And what better way than to start off with this? Peacock. The cock is riding the top of the news charts today. Of course, that's what everybody wants to discuss. Is always Peacock. Of course, an afterthought. Peacock has, and listen, I like Peacock. I load it up all the time to watch Parks and Rec or the odd bunch of things. I really do like the streaming service. Still the dumbest name in all of streaming, but they are nonetheless on the lower end of the, streaming wars stuff. I mean, obviously you got Disney, you got Netflix, you got Warner Brothers, Max, all that kind of stuff. And then somewhere way down there at the bottom is Peacock. I think last year they lost in the neighborhood of like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 billion dollars. They lost, but they are starting to turn things around a little bit because according to the Hollywood Reporter, they're reporting a 55% increase in the past year in their number of paid subscribers. The folks at the Hollywood Reporter said this: Peacock paid subscribers increased 55% compared to the prior year period to 34 million, including net additions of 3 million just in the first quarter. Comcast highlighted Peacock revenue increased 54% to 1.1 billion. Now, lest you think it's all peacocks and roses, they still lost like 640-ish in that neighborhood $1 million, but that is representing a shrinking, or as George would say, shrinkage of their losses. Their losses jumped in the pool and they shrunk. And we're down to like $600-something million in losses, which means they're heading in the right direction. A large part of this is probably attributable, Jeff, I'm guessing, to the NFL deal they had. Because they said they had like 23 million viewers just for that Kansas City Chiefs Miami Dolphin game, I think it was. And so that clearly made a big thing, and they had big retention. So Jeff, in general, what do you think about this report they just gave about Peacock? And dreaming over the rainbow, can Peacock actually become a major player in this game, or is it doomed even with this growth? What do you think?
I think it can. I think it's a grower, rather than a shower, right?
Wow. Wow, I didn't know you had it in you, Chip.
It takes all kinds. I think that like Netflix and these other places, right? These other streamers, they're going to be cutting their budgets back a little, right? And that's going to allow a little bit of parity among the streamers. The problem with Peacock is that it was always like the 10th stop, right? So if you had an A-list talent pitching a show, they're going to go to HBO, then they're going to go to Netflix and Amazon and Apple, and like Peacock's basically only getting the shows that everyone else has passed on or that have slipped through the cracks, unless it's based on, you know, IP that they own. And so I think that the shows that they eventually get access to will get a little bit better because Netflix isn't going to be buying as much. You know what I mean?
They also had a big thing with, I mean, Oppenheimer going right to Peacock was a big deal for them as well. Again, showcasing what I've kind of always proven: put your movies in theaters, then put them on streaming, and they'll perform a lot better for you on streaming if you do that. So anyway, that clearly helped Peacock. Anyway, guys, question is for you: what do you think about this? Is Peacock one of your go-to channels? Are you one of those new subscribers that they added this year? Do you even care about the service? Whatever you guys think, jump into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, it never ceases to amaze me the enduring popularity of the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Right? I can't remember, Jonathan, I don't know if you can figure this out, or Ray, how long ago did Deathly Hallows Part 2 come out?
I looked it up.
Was that like 2011? 2012?
Somewhere around there.
I mean, we're over a decade separated though, right? From when the last one came out. Yeah, they
2011. Yeah.
2011? So we're like 13 years since that last one came out. Granted, we've had the Fantastic Beasts one, which have had mixed results, whatever. But when they put out on HBO Max that little anniversary reunion special, remember they did that about a year or so ago? I'm not even a Potterhead, and I was moved emotionally, like watching that. And then it was a reminder just how popular this IP is around the world. And then that Hogwarts Legacy video game came out, and there were a lot of people thought, oh, well, no one's going to get this game. It like shattered all kinds of records.
That's pretty huge
when it came out. And you know, elephant in the room aside, you know, certain ideological, socio-political viewpoints that maybe the creator of Harry Potter may or may not have, and wherever you fall on that aside, this is an IP that has endured, so much so that HBO is, of course, coming out with a retelling of the Harry Potter story all through the books, one season per book. They're going to do a new series of it. Well, now, according to Variety, it's so popular, they're even doing a full audio drama of all this with over 100 different voice actors who are going to be a part of it. This comes to us from Variety, who wrote the following. Listen up, Potterheads. J.K. Rowling's 7 original Harry Potter books are getting a massive new audiobook series. Amazon's Audible and Pottermore Publishing, the global digital publisher of Rowling's Wizarding World, will co-produce a brand new audiobook series for the original 7 Harry Potter stories. Now, for some of you going, wait, I thought there were 8 movies. Yeah, but they split the Deathly Hallows into 2. The new audiobooks are scheduled to premiere in late 2025, with each of the 7 English language titles to be released sequentially for global audience exclusively on Audible. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, and I understand why, John, why are we discussing an audiobook story? It's because I think it echoes of a larger issue here, which is I never cease to be amazed by just how popular and enduring this Harry Potter franchise is. Because I will be honest with you, while I liked the Harry Potter movies, I certainly liked it, you know, when it ended off with a bang, Deathly Hallows Part 2, I thought it was great. When they ended that franchise, I thought that was really good. Now, Harry Potter will be gone in 3 or 4 years, but theme parks and video games and Broadway shows and whatever goes on, it has shown that there is still a very, very tangible hunger out there for Harry Potter. So, Jeff, the question I would ask you is, I'm wondering if you share the skepticism that I have about the Max series that they're doing.
Yes.
And move on.
And next topic.
Let us know your thoughts.
and wondering if things like the video game success, things like the fact that even places like Amazon and Audible are recognizing this and they're pouring a lot of energy into this, does any of this change or move the needle for you about how big Harry Potter can still be today? What do you think?
I think it can still be absolutely huge, but it's all about the approach. So with this audiobook, this is just about keeping the machine going, right? There's no movies coming down the pipeline. That series is years away. Like, you need something to keep Harry Potter in the public eye, so to speak. Not that it'll ever necessarily go away. And so you can make an audiobook a lot quicker than you can a series. You don't need to design costumes and sets and all that kind of stuff. So I think that the audiobook thing makes sense, although I don't know if unless you're like a diehard Potter fan, like who is this for, right? Isn't this really for people who have never read the books, like little kids who like want to read Harry Potter, but now the thing is we listen to audio instead of reading?
I'll be honest with you. I've never read a Harry Potter book.
Neither have I.
But I do like audiobooks. I really got into one of the things I love about Star Wars audiobooks is they tend to put a lot more energy and effort and production into them. So you got like multiple voice actors, music, sound effects. I got to admit, with 100 different voice actors, and I can only imagine how much production they're going to put into this, I might actually check out. I'm not even a big Potterhead, but I might be tempted.
Right, because you've never read the books,
correct?
Right? And it's like, I think like, yeah, if I wanted to read the books, but I've never had the time or whatever, this audiobook is a good way to go through that. But I don't know, if I've already read them and I've already seen the movies, why do I want to do this a third time, you know?
Right.
But as far as like the Max series and everything goes, I still think that is not the right approach. I think you need to get the original cast back. The only way you're going to do that is if you get JK out of there. They need to do whatever they can to buy her out, make her go away, and then get the three of them back for a movie.
Breaking news, guys.
Oh,
Breaking news. I just been added to the audio cast of this.
Ross, 101.
Check your spam folders. You might have been added. 'Cause there's a
101
ton
voice
of
actors. Ray Aura, aka Chef Pleasure. And by the way, just in case you forgot about just how big and dominant Harry Potter has been, check this out. Forget the Fantastic Beasts, okay? So we'll start down with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows made $1.3 billion. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Point 1 made $944 million. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince made $926 million. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix made $937 million. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire made $885 million. Prisoner of Azkaban made $783 million. Chamber of Secrets made $874 million. And the Sorcerer's Stone made $963 million. We are talking numbers that more than just rival Marvel. If you want to run down, like Marvel's had a whole bunch of billion-dollar films, sure, but 6 of them are like 5 of them are in like $900 million range. Crazy popular. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Not just the audiobook, and would you be interested in the audiobook, but maybe even more importantly, what does it say to you about the place of Harry Potter still in the pop cultural consciousness? Do you think this is a franchise that with the new Max series, new movies even, could still be relevant and succeed today? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Unapologetically, one of my favorite directors is Guy Ritchie. I'm not saying he's up there with the Scorseses and your Spielbergs and whatever, your Hitchcocks. I'm not saying that, but whether it's Lock, Stock, Snatch, I loved his Aladdin take, and Screw Everybody.
Yeah.
I like King Arthur.
Yep.
But I
Jeff?
like Guy Ritchie. I like Guy Ritchie. I do. I like his movies a lot. So I am very excited, although I still haven't had a chance to get out to see his new movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, with my boy Henry.
Yo, boy.
Henry Cavill. I want to go see this. Very excited about it. But apparently, not only did I not go see it, apparently none of y'all saw it.
Sorry.
Because
Sorry.
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare made $8.9 million on its opening weekend in North America. And obviously, it's, as we talked about yesterday and why, it's not really getting released in many other territories. So it made $8.9 million on its opening weekend, which was not good. So I feel bad for my boy Henry, and I feel bad for my boy Guy Ritchie. But as the good folks and our friends over at Slash Film kind of pointed out, this marks the third film in just 13 months for Guy Ritchie that have flopped. And last time I checked, I mean, I'm not a line producer in Hollywood, but that's not good. That would be considered bad. And actually, if we go over and take a look at this, so these are the last 3 films that they've had come out, okay? We had Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Obviously, that's only had its first weekend, but its first weekend made $8.9 million on a budget of $60 million. Operation Fortune, which, by the way, I really quite liked. Hugh Grant ruled in that movie. I love him in that. But
was that day and date?
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But Operation Fortune, I had fun with it. It isn't a great movie, but I had fun with it. $49 million on a $50 million budget. And by the way, making $49 million doesn't count theaters keeping their cut.
Right. Then
Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, another movie I really enjoyed with Jake Gyllenhaal, but made $21 million on a $55 million budget. 3 movies from a director in 13 months. By the way, Jeff, I don't remember the last time I could say that. 3 movies in 13 months by one director, unless we're talking about porn producers.
He has again, Ministry just came out last weekend. He already has another movie that's in the can, and he's shooting another movie.
Oh, right, because they talked about it at CinemaCon.
Right.
What is
another Henry Cavill one, right? With Jake Gyllenhaal?
With Jake Gyllenhaal and Isla Gonzalez.
In the Gray.
In the Gray, that's right. That one's coming out.
Yeah, he's directing the Apple movie Fountain of Youth right now.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
And I love him. I've enjoyed 2 of the 3 movies on this list, and because I haven't seen one of them. And he made $1 billion with Aladdin. But his movies are all losing money. And I don't think In the Gray is going to make money.
No.
I think it's going to be another movie that I'm going to really enjoy, but I don't think that's going to make any money. So the question gets asked here, Jeff. You're a studio producer. You are looking for a director for your newest film. Guy Ritchie's one of the names on your list. You looking at him to direct your film when you look at this track record? What do you think?
I mean, on a big movie with a big budget, actually maybe like an Aladdin or a Sherlock Holmes, but like these mid-budget movies, Ministry of 60 million, Operation Fortune, $50 million for that, 55 million, or 55 for The Covenant. These budgets are too high, right?
Right.
If he's going to be doing that, you got to operate in like the 30 to 40 range. 50 to 60, you're never going to make your money back. And you're right, you only get so many bites at the apple before someone points out you've made 3 flops in a row. And you're right that in The Gray, even though it has Jake Gyllenhaal, who I love, I know Henry's your guy, it looked a little generic, I thought, at CinemaCon from what I saw. So no, I'm not expecting that to be a winner either. But Fountain of Youth feels like it could be it's a big play, a high concept, and that feels like it could be a winner.
So let me say this. I want to know what you would think about this. My thought on this is the only thing you can ask the director to do is make the best movie possible. Right. And I thought he did a fairly good job on Operation Fortune. I thought he did a very good job on The Covenant. I like that movie a lot.
Very good.
I haven't seen Ungentlemanly Warfare. Can't speak to that. But once the director makes your product, that's then on you. That's on the distributors and your marketing and whatever to get it out and sell it. How much of this do you think is just the nature of the movies that Guy is creating versus maybe a failure on the part of the studios to distribute and market it properly?
Well, I mean, look at these titles, John. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That is a horrible title.
Banger of a title.
But not as bad as Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre.
Yeah.
No one even knows how to pronounce this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not even the French.
Even Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Like, I know I love Guy Ritchie too, but you're not like a director in the title guy to me. So these are 3 just bad titles right off the bat. That's kind of where you start.
Guy Ritchie's the reason why I learned the quick way to copy and paste. Because all his titles, I have to put it in the notes. I just Operation whatever. I couldn't even figure
Operation whatever.
And Jake and Henry, like these, I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's one of my favorite actors, but not a box office draw. Never really has been. And to be honest, Henry really isn't either.
Well, I mean, look, my boy Henry, you can't see it on screen, guys. I got Henry in here in the studio watching over us, protecting us all. But Ungentlemanly Warfare, not blowing things up. That stupid little spy movie. What was the name? I even forgot the name of it already. What's the spy movie he just had out with Dua Lipa?
Oh, yeah.
and
Argyle.
Argyle. Yeah.
right?
Oh,
I
keep on.
was so excited for that movie. I was so excited for that movie, and it's so bad, and it made no money. Like, I think Henry's a great actor, but yeah, he's clearly not a box office draw. So, I mean, and that's fine if you can put him in the right movie and then market the movie properly. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I love Guy Ritchie as a director, but the reality is, in his last 3 films over the past 13 months have all flopped. If you're a producer, are you still working with him? Do you think the responsibility solely lies on the studio and the marketing? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got some more stuff to talk about. Some Stranger Things stuff, I believe. We're also going to talk about, James Gunn was just celebrating the Joker on his social media. We're going to talk about 10 potential people we could see playing the Joker. But before we do, we're going to hear from our sponsors. But you know what? For a lot of you guys, you may have not ever met Jeff Snyder before. Like, if you didn't watch my old stuff on Collider or AMC before that, certainly Movie Blog and stuff like that. Jeff the Insider has been working in this industry a long time. And Jeff, just tell us a little bit before we go over to our sponsor break, a little bit about, well, number one, you got a website of your own. You've worked with most of the big major trades, but you've also got a newsletter.
Yes, I just started this newsletter, theinsnyder.com. We started it in November. I've been charging since January, and it's going pretty well. I've been, breaking a lot of scoops, offering some insider analysis. The trades have been citing me and stuff, and I've been causing all kinds of headaches around town. So, I really appreciate if you guys give it a shot. Do a month subscription, whatever it is. I think it's worth the money. And if you need a discount, just shoot me a DM. I'm happy to cut a deal for you. Thanks again.
And it's awesome to have you here. Thanks a lot for joining us today. So, guys, listen, before we pick up the things, we are going to take a second here and thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at The Wellness Company and Liquid IV. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Wellness Company. Okay, so you wake up with a scratchy throat, congestion, runny nose, and cough. You know your body. You know you're getting sick. So your choices are tough it out, get sick, and take time off work, or hope the doctor can see you this month, or wait 2 hours at urgent care and sit in a room full of sick people, or open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to the doctor-recommended prescription. Start on the right meds and nip this in the bud now. Your medical emergency kit is not a first aid kit. It comes with doctor-prescribed meds to treat over 39 medical issues. Strong antibiotics for infections of all types, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, bronchitis, and so much more. Plus, a doctor's easy guide so you'll know exactly what to take and when. There's no waiting to see the doctor, no waiting at the pharmacy. It's all in here. Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in just minutes. Your kit will be rushed right to your door, and you can get 15% off at twc.health/Campea and use promo code Campea when you check out. That's promo code Campea at twc.health/Campea. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Liquid IV. Summer is just around the corner, and Anna and I have some of our favorite activities coming up, from hiking, swimming, going camping. But in order to do all that, you gotta stay hydrated, because you need hydration that keeps up with every moment. Just a single stick of Liquid IV makes ordinary hydration extraordinary. And for me, preparing a glass is the easiest thing in the world. Simply open up a packet, pour it into your glass of water, and enjoy. And guys, there's a reason that Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. It has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. Just tear, pour, and live more. Just 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. With 8 vitamins and nutrients, non-GMO, and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. There's no artificial colors or sweeteners, and it's got 4 delicious sugar-free flavors: white peach, green grape, raspberry melon, and lemon lime. So turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code Campea at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code Campea at liquidiv.com. And thank you to our friends at The Wellness Company and Liquid IV for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into this, shall we? One of the big, pop cultural influential shows of the past bunch of years has been Stranger Things. For me, it kind of got me hooked because of the Dungeons and Dragons element. Because as you know, I am an old school tabletop role-playing game kind of guy. I really enjoyed it for that. And I've really enjoyed all the seasons all the way through. I wouldn't count myself as one of their biggest fans, but I have really enjoyed them. And I think I've liked each season more, a little bit more than the last. Well, we have, of course, been waiting for quite a while for season 5. And, I was talking to Jeff a little bit earlier, and Jeff said, I think I got some information on season 5. So, Jeff, what are we talking about here with Stranger Things season 5?
Okay, here we go, folks.
Oh, here we
Buckle
go.
up. I've got the hot mic later today, but I wanted to come on the John Campea Show because, this is one of the granddaddy movie news shows and TV news shows, right? I just felt appropriate. And so when I showed up here and John was like, I've got bad news, I was like, oh my God, Netflix got to you, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right? But we overcame the technical difficulties, and I can bring you the special report on Stranger Things. So, I spoke to, a source working on the show in production, and they slipped me the titles of the episodes. Now, I think it was back in late 2022 that Netflix announced the title of episode 1 of season 5, which is going to be The Crawl. And
What's it called?
It's called The Crawl. That's episode 1.
Crawl.
And that is what, that's already been announced. But that was one of the titles that my source slipped me. So it matched up with what had already been out there. Now, I got to, before we give out the titles and the directors and all this kind of info, I have to say, Netflix would like me to say nothing has been locked in. Anything could change. The show is still in production. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Episode 1, The Crawl, will be directed by the Duffer Brothers.
Okay.
Episode 2 has a spoiler in the title, and so I'm not going to reveal the full name of the episode. But
Okay.
Episode 2 is called The Vanishing of Blank Wheeler. The Vanishing of Blank Wheeler. I'm not going to identify which member of the Wheeler family vanishes. And that is directed by the Duffer Brothers. Episode 3 is called The Turbo Trap. With a W
Turbo Trap.
with a W at the end of turbo.
Ooh.
The Turbo Trap with a W at the end of turbo, and that is directed by Frank Darabont.
Ooh.
Episode 4 will be called Sorcerer, and that is directed by the Duffer Brothers.
The Sorcerer, okay.
Sorcerer.
Evelyn, baby.
Episode 5 is titled Shock Jock.
Shop Jock.
Shock Jock.
Shock Jock.
Shock Jock. And that is also directed by Frank Darabont. So Frank Darabont will be doing 2 episodes, it sounds like, this season. And the 6th episode is titled Escape from Camazotz. Escape from Camazotz, Camazotz. And that is directed by Sean Levy, the director of Deadpool and Wolverine. Those are the 6 episodes that I have. There are 8 episodes this season. I do not have the titles for episodes 7 or 8. I do believe that the Duffer Brothers will end up directing both of those episodes. And now for the other part of the report.
Oh. I thought that was it.
We've got a little something else. Now this you can take with a grain of salt because this all depends on post-production, on schedules, but I think take it with a grain of salt that we're going to get Stranger Things season 5 sooner than you think.
Because what's the name of the girl who plays
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown just recently said something like along those.
she's-
It's not coming for a very, very long time or something like that. But you think we could get sooner?
So here's, what Millie said was that I think in January she said, well, we have 9 months of shooting to go. And then people said, they sort of extrapolated, well, plus there's 5 to 8 months of post-production. So if you extrapolate that out, it could be till mid-2025 that we have to wait to see.
Right.
However, it's my understanding that post houses are not very busy right now because of the strike. There's not a lot of movies. Like, VFX people are desperate.
To your point,
Yep.
I literally just had dinner. Ann and I just had dinner the other night with the owner of one of the big post houses and his wife. And he was saying, we've got a lot coming next year, but things are kind of slow right now because of all this stuff. So
Right.
just to
I
prove
think
your
that there's
point.
a lot of artists around town who are, ready to work. And I think that, Netflix is going to spare no expense. Now, the show has also been off the air for a long time, right?
Yeah, how
It's
long
like,
has it been since the last season aired?
It's been a long
Been a
time.
minute, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? If you can get it back sooner than later, you can't. You should. And the other thing that you also have to think about is of all like the Netflix things that sell merch and products.
Right.
Don't you think it's Stranger Things is like at the top of that list?
Yeah,
really?
100%.
And what's coming up at the end of the year? Christmas. So here's my prediction, folks. My prediction, and I talked to a VFX artist last night to see if this timetable even like works, if he thinks that they could make this timetable. Because I think you're doing the post-production, the VFX, as the show goes along. So
Oh, 100%. They're not going to wait till
Yeah,
the
you don't
production's
wait
done to
till-
start post-production.
Exactly,
100%.
John.
Yeah.
Exactly. So here's what I'm thinking. I think that this summer, at some point, Netflix will announce that the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things season 5, you will be able to watch them over your turkey and gravy.
Oh, you're thinking by Thanksgiving?
I think Thanksgiving.
now,
and
here's
I,
the big question.
and I think the other 4, John, will come at
American
Christmas.
Thanksgiving or the real Canadian Thanksgiving?
The actual legit American
The
one.
American
American
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving,
I think you'll
okay.
get half the season, that they'll split it up, and then you'll get the other 4 episodes by Christmas in December. So that's my prediction, is that you will
Wow.
get Stranger Things before the end of the year, as opposed to next year when Millie Bobby Brown kind of indicated. But we'll see. I could be getting ahead of myself there.
We're
Well, I
talking about these full hour meaty episodes too.
Oh, yeah, none of
Just
this
like-
Disney Plus 28-minute episode nonsense.
Oh, you guys don't like those?
So, but, I mean, this would be consistent with what they did with season 4, right? In the sense of like taking the first bunch of episodes, drop them at one point, wait. I think, what did they wait, a month?
They waited a month.
A month before they dropped the second set. So that could fit perfectly into that timetable if they did that.
I think they want people watching this with the last season, with their families and their loved ones around the holidays. You sell the merch. Like, it all just makes so much sense.
So just to reiterate what Jeff was saying. So the first episode, The Crawl,
Yes.
with the being directed by the Duffer Brothers. Episode 2, The Vanishing of Someone Wheeler, also being directed by the Duffer Brothers. The Turbo Trap is episode 3, directed by the great Frank Darabont. Episode 4, Sorcerer, directed by the Duffers again. Shock Jock for episode 5, being directed by Frank Darabont. And Escape from Camazotz, which sounds like maybe they're going to get some D&D back in there, being directed by Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy, which is pretty exciting. I can't remember, has Frank Darabont worked on Stranger Things already?
No.
He has not yet.
I broke the news. I think it was like a year or something like that ago, that he was going to be doing an episode. He's kind of been in director's jail.
You know, that's why I thought about why do I have it in my head, the Frank Darabont connection
Yeah.
to Stranger Things? It's because you had talked about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
last year. So there you have it, guys, and a prediction that we might be actually be getting this year in 2024. Guys, question is, what do you think about that? Are you reading into any things in the titles? What do you think about the director's list? I think it's great that they got Frank Darabont, Sean Levy, who's obviously been connected with Stranger Things a lot. The Duffer Brothers continuing to work on it. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? There's a brand new DCEU coming. Or take out the E. It's just going to be a brand new DC cinematic universe that James Gunn is bringing us, starting, of course, in 2025 with Superman, what was called Legacy, now just called Superman. We've got the animated show as well coming out. What's that one called? The Creature Commandos?
Creature Commandos.
Creature
Yeah.
Commandos. We got the Creature Commandos. That's coming out as well. We know we got a Batman movie coming with Robin, Brave and the Bold. We've got a lot of things coming. We are also getting ready to get a new Joker. And we're not talking about Jonathan's Matt Reeves Joker.
Yeah.
We're talking about a new Joker in James Gunn's universe. So I had a few people write to me and ask me, you know, can you guys do like some of your picks for the new Joker? And then just the other day, James Gunn kind of posted about Joker. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do that. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to throw out there 10 names that I think would be a very good Joker. And then what I want is for Jeff and Ray to give me on a scale of 0 to 100 how much they would like that pick to play the new Joker, and incorporate a little bit in that how possible you think it is. So I'm going to start, and these are in no particular order. This is not number 1 through number 0. No, it's just 10 random names. Okay, I like all these in no particular order. So here we go. Will Poulter. This is a guy who has impressed me every single time he's been. Even this is a real mark of an actor that I enjoy a lot. Even when they're in things that I didn't like, I really like their performance. Will Poulter to me is one of those guys. So he, and a little bit more on the younger end, but he's the first guy I got up there. Ray, 0 to 100. How much do you like the
I like
Ray
that
Poulter?
at 85, baby.
80. Okay, 85.
I like that.
Jeff, what about you?
79.
Really, you're going to go high on that one too?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, he was going to play Pennywise, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I think he could do well behind makeup and all that.
All right. So let's get on to my next guy. His name is very big right now, but even before they just recently announced a big role for him, I've thought that this guy could be an interesting pick for a Joker character. Eben Moss Backrack, who of course is going to be Ben Grimm in Marvel, but we've seen a lot of actors playing both Marvel and DC films. I don't think that's a stuff. I love this guy's work on The Bear. I thought he was phenomenal in Andor. Was he on Girls as well before? I can't remember if he was on Girls before that. At any rate, I think this guy's absolutely terrific. He just won a whole bunch of awards this year for his work on The Bear as well. So, Ray, what do you think about this?
I may have started too high. 86.
Oh, so you're going to go one more higher.
Yeah.
You're just one more up above over
I
Will
like him,
Poulter.
actually.
Jeff, what about you?
32.
Oh, you're down on that one. Why?
I don't like it. I like him as an actor. I just don't see him as the Joker. I think you need someone a little bit bigger.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So that's 2 down. Let's move on to this one here. This is an actor who I've admired for a long time. And coincidentally, one of our viewers brought him up on yesterday's show. He has a little bit of a connection to the Batman universe already. He hasn't done a lot recently. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt would make a very interesting Joker. In this, remember, in a James Gunn universe, I think he's got the range to do it. I think there is some poetic nature to it, just the fact that he's connected to the Batman universe already. I like the idea of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Ray, what about you?
I got to go just an even 50. I'm not sure. Like 50, we'll go 51 just because, like, I like the actor, but I don't know for Joker. I'm not sure.
All right, Jeff.
I'm a sucker for JGL. I'll go 84. And
Whoa.
I'm looking forward to his turn in Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. When is that supposed to come out, by the way?
I think this summer.
Is this summer?
think so.
Looking forward to that. Okay. I think that's, 3 down? Let's go on to the next
3.
one. This guy is, nobody will doubt, is a phenomenal actor. Now, I'm going a little bit more in the older range, so this is bucking the idea that you have to have Batman and Joker in the same age range. I'm going a little bit older, but this guy has menaced audiences, and he is a two-time Academy Award winner. I'm saying Christoph Waltz would make a hell of a Joker.
Oh, wow.
I think he would make, a very different kind, leaning more on the older end. But can you imagine this guy bringing the psycho to it? Anyway, Ray, what do you think about Christoph Waltz?
Before I continue, we're talking about the Joker that will be the Joker throughout the whole.
In this
for
new
the Gunn.
DC
Starting
universe.
with Brave and the Bold or whatever, if he makes an appearance. Oh, man, I love the actor, but I just keep seeing Alan Ritchson as my Batman, and oh man, I'll go 35%.
35. Okay, Jeff, what about you?
I'll go 75. I think he'd be good. I can see what you're getting at, but I don't think he'd be my favorite of these picks yet.
The age is a tough one for me.
Well, who are you comparing him to? Are you like Pattinson or
Well, we don't know who the Batman
right?
is.
Is the
I mean,
Batman
in
supposed to be
James Gunn's.
older in
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold?
Well, I don't know. See, like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of bucking the idea that you got to
they
have
have
your
to be the
Batman
same
and your
age.
Joker in the same age range. I'm assuming whoever they get to play Batman in the new DCU is probably going to be younger than Christoph Waltz is, but I still really like him, so I'm going to go with that. All right,
I like it.
let's go another one here. This guy, another phenomenal actor, comic book movie pedigree, has played everything from comedic, charming, and completely psycho. I like James McAvoy. James McAvoy as a Joker in a new James Gunn thing.
Ooh.
I just think about his performance in Split to go along with his performances in just about everything else he's ever done. I think he could bring some really cool DNA to the whole thing. Anyway, Ray, what would you think about James McAvoy?
87, baby.
Oh, that's your favorite so far.
Yeah.
All right, going up to 87. What about you, Jeff?
I'm gonna go 78. I'll slot him underneath Poulter and JGL.
But still a very high number. You like this pick.
I do like that idea, and I think what you're getting at with his performance in Split, like the range that he showed, and I mean, he can be a scary dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can be very
His
scary.
eyes are so piercing, it's crazy.
And that movie Speak No Evil that's coming out this summer, that
yeah.
looks a little freaky.
Okay, you were at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were at CinemaCon. I loved that preview they showed us for Speak No
Evil. Yeah.
I love that preview, so it's going to be really interesting to see. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This next one is going to ruffle some feathers, and that's okay. But if you accept for a second that the ethnicity of Joker has never been an important part of who the character is, I want to bring up this guy. Because this guy is a guy who has shown me the ability to go from somber to psycho at the drop of a penny. I love every time he's on screen, even when he's in something as questionable as Haunted Mansion. I like Lakeith Stanfield. I love this guy. And like I said, his ability to go from somber to psycho so quickly and believably, I could totally see him as a Joker. Anyway, Ray, what would you think?
This guy could do anything in the world as far as I'm concerned, but not this one. 25%.
20. You're gonna go low on that one, Jeff. What do you think?
I think he's your best call yet. I'll go 85.
Really?
I gotta see something different from this Joker, John. I gotta see something different. I think a black Joker would be pretty interesting, and he is at or near the top of that list.
And depending on what James Gunn wants to do, you may never actually see his skin.
That's true.
Depending on whether he wants him always in the makeup. Because when you look, I like the fact you bring up different, because when you look at all the Jokers we've had, from Jack to Heath to Jared to Joaquin, these have all been radically different kinds of Jokers from each other. And if you want to continue trying to make something really different, I just forget different. Take different out of it. I think he'd be phenomenal.
Yes.
I think he'd be really good. So
I think so too.
all right. I want to go on to this next one. This guy is an Academy Award winner. I have seen him do everything. A lot of us think of it with his great comedic chops. He won his Academy Award for incredibly dramatic. But I still think my fondest memory of him is going all the way back to Galaxy Quest. I think Sam Rockwell would make a hell of a Joker. I think he could bring intensity. I think he could bring crazy.
Dance moves?
I think he could bring the dance moves. And I think he's a name. Several other of the names I've already mentioned could be good too. But I think he's a name that would really excite the fan base as well. And again, some comic book movie experience already in there. Ray, what do you think about a Sam Rockwell?
84, baby.
84.
Right below Poulter.
Right below Will Poulter. Jeff?
I'll go 82. I also like this and thought about him on the ride over. So yeah, a little bit over Poulter, mainly, and guys like McAvoy, because I just don't think of the Joker as like jacked like McAvoy is.
Right.
So yeah, Rockwell fits the body
Again,
type a bit
unless
more.
they wanted to do something a little bit different
Right,
with
of
Joker
course.
than they've done before. All right. Let's go on to this next one here. This is a guy who everybody else on this list already worships. I just finished watching one of the greatest comedians in the world talking about how this guy should be on the Mount Rushmore of all-time comedy, but he's also won a lot of audiences over with his surprising dramatic turns. And it doesn't hurt that he's a good Canadian kid. Jim Carrey. And I'm not talking about the Ace Ventura Pet Detective Jim Carrey.
He can do anything, honestly.
You combine his Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Jim Carrey, with his Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey. I think this is a guy who can literally do anything. I just the other day I was watching Dave Chappelle say that Jim Carrey's top 3 all time. I was just watching Jerry Seinfeld with him saying he thinks he's his favorite comedian ever. You see what he can do dramatically. Now, is this a little too on the nose?
Because of the Riddler?
Because of the Riddler part
that's where...
and the clown aspect to him? Maybe. But all I'm saying is, if tomorrow they announced that Jim Carrey was going to play Joker, I would personally be very excited about it. Ray, what do you think?
I go 85.
85? You're going to go that high?
Yeah.
You like it a lot too? Okay. Jeff, what do you think?
89.
Whoa, so this is your favorite one so far.
So far, yes. I brought him up on the ride over because I called a friend to talk about this over, and I brought up Jim Carrey. I think he's a great actor. And he can be kind of terrifying and menacing.
Yeah.
I like when he goes dark. So
when he did the Cable Guy,
I think it would be cool.
if he could bring the darker element of Cable Guy
I
over
wonder-
there.
And plus, all my worries of me just seeing the Riddler, his acting is so strong that he'll make us forget that he even played that role.
I wouldn't
I
be
think
worried
so.
about that.
Yeah,
But
me
I
neither.
do wonder if on a personal level, because I know he was really committed to this, if he wants to go down that dark of a road.
Well, if you ever watched his thing he did with Jerry Seinfeld and his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he's talked a lot in the last recent years about, I might be done acting. I mean, it surprised everybody that he was coming back for the next Sonic movie. So he might just be happy doing his
what
painting.
a role, man!
I just
What
think of the Joker's like a showman, and I look at him in the
Yeah,
mask, and
sure.
I'm like, yeah, this dude
Exactly.
could do it. He could be Mr. J.
oh, he can do it.
He
Absolutely.
could totally be that.
He's got the height. He's got the slenderness.
And he's got the talent.
Yeah.
All right. Let me move on to, I believe this is my 9th one. Switching gears a bit. If we wanted to get something like, I'm trying to think more along the lines, because a lot of my picks so far have been Jack kind of Jokers. What if we want to go a little bit more Heath kind of Joker? Somebody could bring that heavier, darker tone and stuff like that, but you have no doubt he could break it loose when
Justin
he needed
Long.
to. I love Justin
So
Long.
dark.
Never besmirched Justin Long.
I
to
love
me.
Justin
I love
Long.
Justin
I just
Long.
bring it up.
All right. I think this is going to be the one name that's going to really surprise people the most that I'm putting on this list. But I think if they wanted to go in this direction with the kind of Joker, Adam Driver's our guy.
I was gonna guess.
Were you going to guess Adam Driver?
No, I was thinking, who could this be? And I was like,
Oh,
Adam Driver.
Yeah, I could see that for
Yeah.
sure.
If you wanted to go with a heavier, darker Joker who then just goes a little bit crazy,
A very tall Joker.
a very tall,
Yeah, but they are very tall
Yeah,
jokers.
yeah.
also
I mean,
kind of jacked though. You're talking about a guy who by the time his career's over, he's going to have 1 or 2 Oscars on his mantle.
a
I
shirtless
think
Joker.
again, it depends on what kind of Joker James Gunn wants to go for in his movies. But if they go for a certain type, I think Adam Driver could be a good pick. Ray, what do you think?
I'm just gonna say 71 because I wouldn't be opposed to it, but he's not one of my top.
Jeff, what about
Yeah,
you?
54. Better than Evan Moss Backrack, but
Yeah.
Oh,
not
but
my
not
favorite
high on your
choice.
list. You're not digging this one. Okay. All right. My final one. My final one is another Academy Award winner.
Mm.
Has played the heaviest of drama, can play quirky and crazy. But there's also, I admit, a pure poeticism to this pick because he used to be Batman. Christian Bale. Christian
I thought you were going
Bale.
to say Keaton for a second.
Michael Keaton as Joker. No, that one's crossed my mind too. But Christian Bale going full circle from giving us what is a lot of people's favorite Batman. Not mine, but I mean, I loved him as Batman, but a lot of people, he's their quintessential Batman. To then coming back out and playing Joker. And I just think there is, I'm admitting there's a lot of poeticism that's making me want to go with this pick. But I'm just saying, if they called out Christian Bale, an Academy Award winner, to do this, I would love it. Ray, what do you think?
He did one of my favorite Batmans, or my favorite Batman, but 25. I want him to.
okay.
I want to see him in other things. Like I think after Gore the God Butcher, I think I want to see him do other things.
All right, Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, I'll go 66. I'm mid on it. Don't love it, don't hate it.
All right, so just to remind everybody, here were the 10 I threw out there. Will Poulter, Eben, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Christoph, James McAvoy, Lakeith Stanfield, Sam Rockwell, Jim Carrey, Darth, what's his face?
Adam Driver.
Christian Bale.
Chat.
Matt Chat. Sorry, I killed your son. By the way, go look that up on Saturday Night Live. It's great. Those are the ones I picked. So Jeff, let me ask you. You clearly liked a bunch of those that you'd be down for. Do you have some other names maybe that I might have left?
I mean, there were a couple that came up in the conversation. I mean, the way that me and Jamie Williams, my buddy, approached it, it was like, well, who would people just be like, oh my God, I have to see this. I have to drop everything to see this. And the person that kind of came up was, imagine Adam Sandler as the Joker.
I could be down
like an
for
Uncut
that.
Gems style,
Not someone I would pick, but if like tomorrow out of nowhere they announced him, I could be down for that.
It's a stretch, maybe. And I got another reach for you, but like, we were talking about Nicholson and like, well, what actor has modeled his career after Jack Nicholson is slowly becoming Jack Nicholson?
I think I know who you're going to say.
Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah,
not who I was going to think you're going for.
Who has never done, I mean, guys like, because I was saying like him, Pitt, Cruise, they've never done a big comic book movie before, so they have a certain eligibility, and it's like, this is one of those irresistible roles. Could you get one of those triple A-listers to do this? And if one of them did, I don't know why I was thinking Leo, but just the jack of it all.
If you need a selling point, you can tell Leo, hey, Leo, 2 different guys have won Oscars playing this role. You want your second Oscar? Maybe this could be it.
I have a couple of picks, but they're all from Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo? Yeah, he's
and, Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom
Okay,
as the Joker.
okay.
Really?
Orlando, maybe. Yeah.
I want to see I want to see that Viggo. Like, I have this like strange love for him recently because I guess I watched Lord of the Rings the other night. I was like, I want to see him again.
Tell us about this
either as
strange love, right?
Two-Face or somebody.
What's the name of the one? Is it not A History of the Violence? The one where
Yeah,
he's
he
the
was-
Russian hitman.
Yeah. History
Well,
of-
that
I know he was in the History of Violence, but the one where he was
Eastern Promises.
Eastern Promises. That's the one I was
I feel like
thinking
I'm on the Schmodown.
That's pretty good. By the way, I want to bring up one name that I feel ashamed that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
Somebody in the live chat.
I have a
just put it in.
feeling I'm thinking of it too, but go ahead.
But because this is a name that would get people very excited. He's real hot right now because he's got a big hit show on Amazon.
Yeah, that was
Walton
my guess.
Goggins.
Yep.
Oh,
There you go.
How do you see
that would be
when
cool.
you said it's kind of like a Jack Nicholson? I thought you were going to say Walton Goggins a little bit.
That actually took the wind out of my sails. That was one of my
Sign the check.
honorable
John, I
mentions.
do like that.
Sign the check.
That's a good one, right?
Sign the check.
Sign the check right now.
He was a villain in Tomb Raider too, with the one with Alicia.
He was with Alicia Vikander. He was
Yeah.
actually pretty good in that.
I have one other. The Walton Goggins was my honorable mention. One other, but he's booked by Marvel. But I thought an interesting one could be a Paul Bettany.
Oh, I mean, Paul Bettany.
Paul
Like we were
Bettany.
just talking about Master and Commander yesterday. I mean, and remember, just because you're doing a movie with one studio doesn't mean you can't do other movies with other studios.
I know, but likelihood would be.
I was thinking of him as Silas from Da Vinci Code,
yeah.
you know, like, so he did come up in my mind.
So I guess, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about the names that we all threw out there? Do you have some other names that you like? Go on down and throw them in the comments section down below. All right. With that all down, guys, before we end off our show, we're going to take... Oh, wait. What am I answering?
Jonathan's gonna read them since I don't.
Yeah, I got him here. I'll
John,
read
okay. So, like I said, I mentioned at the beginning of the show today that we had technical problems. Our main production computer died. And so we kind of scotch taped a few things together here. So I cannot bring questions up on screen, but 5 people, this is long before the show started, had already sent in super chat questions long before we started the show. So we're going to answer those questions. I can't bring them up on screen, unfortunately. So Jonathan, I'll just pretend you're Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Imagine Walton Goggins read the quote. What questions do we have from our audience?
All right. Well, we got Optimus Prime Rib right here. Boogie Nights is great, but me and my buddies loved it as teens because of the filthy.
A lot of filthy.
What other films come to mind that are great but are liked for the wrong reasons?
That's one that you'd have to sit down and think about.
That's
I
good question,
admit,
though.
yeah, watching Boogie Nights, and I don't know why, but whenever I think Boogie Nights, I don't think the first thing that comes to my head isn't any of the great Burt Reynolds lines or Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's Julianne Moore saying, You Can Come on My Tits.
What?
That's probably.
Someone cut that out of the show.
I'm just saying.
We just got demonetized.
That's just the first line that a lot of filthy in it, but it is a great movie. It's a great movie.
Oh, is it?
Jeff, it's a great question. Movies that you really enjoy, but maybe you enjoy them for the wrong reasons.
Oh boy.
I can name one. Sure. The original Mortal Kombat.
Oh, right.
That's a terrible movie, man, but I love it.
Right.
I can watch that all the time. But I mean, the one-liners, the martial arts in it, how anybody cast Christopher Lambert as Lord Raiden is completely beyond me, but whatever, it kind of worked. Can you guys think of one?
Oh man, that's so tough right now.
I don't think there are wrong reasons, right?
That's
like
a very
movie.
good point. Hey, whatever makes you enjoy a movie makes you enjoy
Well,
a
I
movie.
mean, Meg 2, I thought was comedy of the year.
Meg too.
I mean, I don't know.
All right, what's next?
Mr. Hank Dunn. Gonna get back to YouTube, so I bought a used camera, a Canon Rebel T7.
Sure.
It's not the flashiest, but hopefully it'll get the job done. Love you all. Cheers. Now, will the T7 cut off on you after a certain amount of time?
See,
or does
this
it
is what
hold?
you got to be careful of and double check this, because for the longest time, Canon cameras had this built-in time limit. You know what it was? It's the stupidest thing. It had to do with international deals with like storage medium, things like that. And so Canon cameras will turn off
Right.
after 20, 25 minutes, something like that. And the Rebels may fall under that.
Right.
So double
Be
check
careful
that.
on that one.
Now, I would recommend, particularly if you're just kind of getting going, there is a $150, which sounds expensive, but a $150 webcam by Elgato called the Facecam Mark II. That I don't own it myself. I have the Facecam Mark I, and it's an unbelievably good webcam. But I've been watching some YouTubers in the last 48 hours or so talking about this new Facecam Mark II. And with a little bit of color correction in the software that comes with it, the image you get out of it is phenomenal. So here are the advantages. It's $150. You just slap it on your monitor and plug it into a USB thing. Do a little bit of color correction in it, and you will get a phenomenal thing. Then, once you're ready, go back up to something like that. But anyway, double check the settings to see, make sure you're not going to get in trouble with that auto turn off feature with the Rebel. All right, what's next?
All right, Miguel Zayen says, just finished Shogun, and this show is great. Yabushige is one of my favorite characters, but he had to go. Anna Sawai and Cosmo Jarvis have the potential to be movie stars. Cosmo as Wolverine. Thoughts? Thanks.
Yeah, first of all, it's funny because before the big betrayal, I said to Anne, I think he might be one of my favorite characters in this show. Of course, we get introduced to him because he boils a man to death in the very first thing. Rather cruel, but he literally becomes one of my favorite guys through the show until, you get closer to the end. Cosmo Jarvis, I was thoroughly impressed with him in this show. I really, really was, because I was somebody who as a little kid watched the 1980s miniseries version of the show with Richard Chamberlain playing it. Now, Cosmo plays a very different John Blackthorne. Very, very different. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch the show, Jeff.
I haven't.
Oh my God, it's so good. But
I do like Cosmo though.
I'll tell you what, when he speaks in it, there's a Mike Tyson effect, because you see him, then he starts to speak, and the voice that comes out is not the voice that you expect to come out. It's got a real growl to his voice, but my God, I think it might be, it's one of my favorite seasons of television ever. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, he was great. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Juliana Goodwin, who says, have you seen Holmes and Watson and the incredible Burt Wonderstone? I love those two movies because even though the scripts are dead on arrival, the cast's attitude of screw it, let's have fun, made the movies work.
All right. First off, Holmes and Watson with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. It's awful.
That does not work.
It's
No.
What were they in that one? I forgot.
they were Holmes and Watson.
Yeah, okay.
Holmes and Watson?
Sorry,
You really
I
just
mixed it
asked
up with
that?
Burt Wonderstone. I'm sorry.
Playing Mike Holmes and Dave Watson.
That movie, listen, and I love, first of all, Step Brothers is one of my top 5 all-time favorite comedies.
Mine too.
I love Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly together. And that movie was just rough. I have to admit, though, I have got a soft spot for the incredible Burt Wonderstone. I just thought, number one, first of all, Jim Carrey is great in it. And it just worked for me. It worked. Look, is it one of my top 50 favorite comedies? No, but it kind of worked for me. And I got to admit, I have a little bit of soft spot too, because it was one of those rare press junkets that they did not do in LA. Normally when they do a press junket in LA, they book a floor at the Four Seasons. You go down. It's boring as shit. It's one of the reasons I stopped doing them. But you go down, you sit in this waiting room with a bunch of other journalists, and you go sit in another line outside of a hotel room for 15 more minutes, and you go in to talk to somebody for 3 minutes. But for the incredible Burt Wonderstone, they actually did the junket in Vegas.
Wow.
And so they did it with a lot of Vegas accoutrement to go along with it. And it was the first time I ever got to sit down with Steve Carell, which was really good and a lot of fun. And Jim Carrey was there. And Jason, I got to hang out and sit around and talk with Jason Sudeikis for a bit because, of course, at the time he was with Olivia Wilde.
Oh, yeah, she didn't hand him papers over there?
No, she didn't hand him divorce papers
Wow.
over.
Every time we see him, he gets papers. Watch.
It's just, somebody's getting handed papers with those two.
All right.
But it was really, Jeff, I gotta say, it's a very maligned movie, and I get why, but it kind of worked for me. I was charmed by it. What did you think of it?
I remember seeing Burt Wonderstone once and wasn't it didn't work its magic on me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I just think it's
That
you like
they
that
should
one?
put on the poster. Didn't work its magic with me.
But don't you
Jeff
love that?
Nygaard.
That's like the studio feels compelled. Like if we take the junket to Vegas, right?
They'll like it more.
Right, exactly.
It
Like
made
what?
sense. I mean, the movie takes place in it. They did the same thing for the Michael Douglas movie, Last Vegas. They did the same thing. They did a junk for that in Vegas.
John's were like, luckily, I'm already here.
I just like
Didn't Transformers do that? They flew everyone to China? Or
yeah,
something
they
like
fly
that?
people to Thailand
Yeah,
and
it's like,
London and Hawaii. It's like what?
So tell us about this movie tell us what you love about this movie.
You know what's funny? When I was doing AMC and Collider, whenever they did a junket that was somewhere else, I always let somebody else go.
Yeah.
But eventually I stopped going to them all together, and then eventually I just had myself taken off all list and didn't care.
Side note about John C. Reilly. I watched something last night I didn't even know he was in or forgot. The Perfect Storm.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, he's got that
That was
great
sad.
line at the end. He says, "This is going to be really tough on my boy." That to me was the most heartbreaking line in that movie. As the boat's going under and their heads are about to go into the water, and John C. Reilly says to the other guy, "This is going to be really hard on my boy." That was like the most breaking line to me.
That was on last night. I love falling asleep to feel good movies.
True story. You know where I saw Perfect Storm for the first time?
Where?
On a cruise.
Well done.
Yeah, we were on a cruise and they were playing the Perfect Storm.
And they
on the
wouldn't
cruise.
let anyone watch anything else.
That was it.
There's one where the flight where you just watch one movie and you have to share it with everyone. Yeah.
Is that it, John?
No, one more.
Last one. What's
All right.
next?
Rachel Knight Online says, can't believe we're getting Hugh Jackman back as a yellow suit Wolverine in an R-rated MCU movie before GTA 6. GTA 6 is a ways off.
Yeah, and that's so. But of course, people have been waiting for that for a long time.
Yeah, I already put in my 2 weeks.
Listen, people.
For GTA,
put in
for
my
GTA 6.
My 2 weeks.
2 weeks, but come back.
A lot of people laughed at me when the news came out that Deadpool 3 was going to happen and Hugh Jack was officially back as Wolverine. And I told people, this to me is the second biggest, most important piece of movie news I've had the privilege of reporting in my entire career. The first being when I was at AMC and they announced that there was going to be new Star Wars. Disney had acquired Star Wars and it was coming back. Now, think what you will about how that turned out, but at the time, and that to me is the biggest news. I still remember exactly where I was in the storage closet at AMC when that news came in. But I mean, you really think about it, it's pretty remarkable that he's coming back, that you're going to see these two guys who, let's be honest, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have been spending the last number of years laying the runway for this with their online feud and all that kind of stuff. It's all been building up to this. I don't care what Ryan says about how, no, this just kind of came together last second. Sure, Ryan. This has been in the works and in the planning stage for a very, very long time. And that is why I'm not saying it's going to be the best movie of the next 2 years, but there is no movie coming on the landscape that I am more excited for than Deadpool and Wolverine. It may not end up being any good. Who knows? But there's nothing I am more excited for. Jeff, obviously you and I have never had a chance to talk about the Deadpool thing, but how you travel in the more serious circles. You know, you talk with certain
more
people.
refined.
I mean,
Yeah,
actually,
right.
it's funny because when I was going to email you today, the first email address that comes up for you in my sheet, you start typing in somebody's name, is like at the wrap and stuff like that. So like you travel in those
I've
circles.
had a lot of email addresses over the years.
I've been a lot
You're
of
the Thanos of email addresses.
So how obviously we know in the more hardcore geek circles, the Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine has moved the needle a lot. How much does this really move the needle amongst the industry as a whole, would you say?
In terms of box office potential,
Box
or
office
like
potential, excitement levels, people thinking it's a big deal versus not so big of a deal.
I think it's a big deal because, and I know we said this about Logan in the past, but this does feel like the end of that X-Men chapter because they are right now, like they're pretty close, I think, to hiring a writer for the new X-Men movie.
Right.
That announcement, I would imagine, is going to come in the next few weeks.
Nice.
And so I feel like this Deadpool versus Wolverine movie gives us a chance to say goodbye to that era of the X-Men, and who knows what other cameos are in store, right? There's supposed to be other sort of X-Men characters in here, right?
Yeah.
I think. So I think as far as the industry goes, maybe it's that actors will be open to reprising that signature role one last time, even beyond the one last time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, if they can figure out the right approach, and you know, obviously everybody's doing multiverse stuff these days.
The
but-
first one last time to be followed
Right.
by the second one last time. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to those 5 of you who sent in those super chat questions before we had to turn them
Mighty
off.
5.
Number 1, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank all of you so much for your support. Don't forget, we will be back again tomorrow. Looking forward to it. In what form? Whether we have a new computer, who knows? I want to thank people in the room with me. Of course, Ray
See
Ora,
you later.
Jonathan Goggins,
Today was easy, man.
and our special guest today,
Yeah.
first time on at least this iteration of my shows, Jeff Snyder. Jeff, where can people follow you online?
Yeah, it's at the InSnyder on Twitter and www.theinsnyder.com for the newsletter, guys. I'm trying to take on the trades, and you know, the more people who subscribe, the more power I have, where I don't have to, you know, do everything that they tell me like the trades have to.
It's been a real pleasure having you on, Jeff. Thanks a lot for being here, man. And we'll look forward to having you again. We'll look forward to seeing you guys again. That'll do it for us for now, guys. My name's John Campea. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.